Hello everyone, welcome back to Ebitini TV. Today we are diving into something we all need in our lives: strong, meaningful relationships. Whether it's family, friendships, or romantic connections, nurturing these bonds is essential for happiness and personal growth. So if you want to strengthen your relationships and create this unbreakable connection, stay tuned. While you're at it, don't forget to subscribe and like the video already and share to anyone you think might need it. Yeah. A strong and healthy relationship should be mutually beneficial to the parties involved. So you have to be bringing something, like they say, bringing something to the table. Yeah, not in that sense anyway, but you have to be adding some form of value to the person and be receiving value as well. When a relationship is one-sided, the experience will be lopsided. So it will be like one person will be having the upper hand in the relationship. That's not how a relationship should be. That's not to say that there will not be times when there is no equal measures in sacrifices, in giving, and all of that. But most of the time, a relationship that will thrive has to be beneficial to the two people involved. If it is one-sided or if it is lopsided, then there won't be balance. And what we are looking for is balance. To the best of our ability, we want to ensure that we are in a relationship that is thriving and is mutually beneficial to either of us. It takes two healthy people to have a thriving relationship. That's just the truth. Be it friendships, families. That's why these days we're hearing a lot about dysfunctional families. That's because someone somewhere is not doing the right thing. Yeah. And we also have romantic relationships where one party is healthy and the other is not. So yeah, it takes two healthy people to have a good relationship. There's a woman of God I enjoy listening to, Pastor Mildred. I heard this from her. She says all the time that it takes 2 good eggs to make an omelette. So if you have one bad egg mixed with a good egg, at the end of the day you have a bad omelette. So that's, I feel like she uses that in relation to when she uses that when she speaks to marriages, but I believe that the same principles can be applied when it comes to our regular platonic relationships and even relationships with our family members as well. To begin to dive right into this conversation, I'll first of all say that, are you a healthy person? Yeah. If you're someone dealing with esteem issues, it will be difficult finding good friends, because it's either someone is taking advantage of you, walking all over you. You might find yourself in unhealthy relationships if you're someone with a low self-esteem, because the human nature, which shouldn't be anyway, but that's just the reality. People tend to take advantage of people who do not know their self-worth. If you do not know who you are, you have no idea of your value or your identity. Sometimes you would meet people who would take advantage of you. So it's important that you work on yourself. If you discover that you have esteem issues, that's the first thing you should be dealing with. Fix those issues. It's not time to mask it. Some people put on a show to cover up for their deep-seated insecurities. At this point, I don't see any reason why anyone should be doing that. If you need to speak to a therapist, go ahead and do so, but deal with your traumas. That way you're the healthier version of yourself. Yourself, you will like yourself better. Yes, and the person you will become will thank you for it. So if you need to speak to someone, go ahead, speak to a licensed therapist and identify those things those insecurities that you're dealing with. Identifying them is one thing, and then walking through those things is another step. So you do all of that and you become a wholesome person. Then you can start getting involved in relationships, because without dealing with those things, you might get into the wrong relationships, get further hurt, and you really do not want that. So the first step I would say to finding healthy relationships is being a healthy person, and that's about working on yourself, doing the things you need to do to ensure that you're a healthy person. And I would like to add, if you are that person that the devil likes to use to put down other people, to trample on their esteem and make them feel worthless, please, you need to change. You need to change. Stop it. It's very, I don't know how best to describe it, but just stop it. Stop it. Some people seem to take pleasure in demeaning others, dehumanizing other people. It's almost like they feel good about themselves when they hurt other people, or when they make other people feel less than. It's a horrible, if you're that kind of person, you're a horrible person. So if you're that kind of person, you should be going to God to ask for help, so that you'll be delivered from the demons that are eating you up. I hope I made it. I don't know. I hope I didn't come off too strong with that, but that's exactly how I feel about people who do such things. Yeah, you should deal with the demons you're battling with, and don't drag other people into it. Now, if you're that person that has been trampled on, looked down on for a very long time, I just hope you find this as an encouragement to tell you to get up. Lift your head up high and begin to see yourself as God sees you. No longer should you look down, look up. No longer should you look to yourself, look to Jesus. He made you, He put so much in you, and no one, not even you, have the right to look down on yourself. Don't look down on yourself. Don't join other people to look down on you. Arise and shine. Arise and shine. I just sounded like a preacher for a moment, but anyways, let's get back to the video. You've dealt with yourself. You're not dealing with esteem issues. You're a healthy and whole person. One very important skill for relationships is communication. Yeah, be it romantic relationships, friendships, even relationship with your family members. You need to know how to communicate clearly. That way no one is reading in between the lines, no one is assuming stuff, no one is acting ignorantly. Yeah, because there are times you might be offended but the person who has offended you has no clue, because you haven't communicated clearly. So it's important that you communicate clearly when you are in relationships with people. Be an active listener. This is all under communication. You need to also be an active listener. When someone speaks to you, listen exactly to what they are saying. Don't assume or come up with what you think they're saying. One way to be clear is, if someone says something to you, repeat it back to the person in your own words, the way you understand it, and see if you guys are speaking the same language. Because there are times someone might be saying one thing and you're understanding another thing, which could bring a conflict in your relationship, and it could be resolved by just having clear and honest communication. Along the lines of communication as well is actually communicating. So don't believe that there are you can have a healthy relationship with someone without speaking to the person. So you need to communicate, contact the person, touch base from time to time. It might not be something you do very often, but from time to time you need to reach out to the people that you say are important to you and find out how they're doing, check in on them, what's going on in their life. And same, you expect same too from them, to reach out to you, find out how you're doing, and all of that. That's all what forms a healthy relationship. When there's healthy communication, active listening, and of course, like I said, you need to be clear with your communication. So you need to be an active listener. You need to be clear with what you're saying. Don't be ambiguous. Make it as clear as possible. And then you check in from time to time with the person, find out how they're doing. Just keep in touch. The next thing I'll talk about has to do with, it's a bit related to the last sub point of the last point. So when I talked about keeping in touch, we have quality time and quantity time. Now, most times with today's busy world, of course, you might not have all the time to hang out like you would want to spend time, but it's important that, I believe it's important that you make out time for the people that matter to you. You might not meet up every day, every week or whatever, but just let there be some form of intentionality with creating time to hang out. If you don't get to meet face to face, you create time to spend quality time on the phone. You just catch up, talk about things, and let that time count. Interestingly, I've seen a story where someone said how she and her sisters they are in different countries. They could be on video call doing absolutely nothing. Like they are going about their daily activities separately, but they are connected because they are on video call. So if that is something that works for you, you go ahead. So you could be on video call with your friend or your sibling or whatever, and you're doing your other activities, but you guys are just still connected somehow. I tend to enjoy that a lot as well from time to time. So yeah, you don't have to like stop your life or stop your activity to get in touch with your friend or family member. You can incorporate them in the activities you're already doing. That way it's a win-win situation. Another thing is that you need to show appreciation. Be that person that shows appreciation and gratitude. I have not met someone yet who doesn't appreciate a good compliment, or who doesn't appreciate it when someone shows them gratitude. I know there are people that could be weird, that don't know how to take compliments or whatever, but I feel like deep down, even those people, when they go back, they feel happy that they were appreciated for something. So if someone does something nice to for you, I think it's important that you take the time to let the person know that you appreciate what they did, how they be specific about it, what you enjoyed about what they did for you. It's so important that the person appreciates it. There are some people that are like, oh no, it's not necessary. Oh, just down for nothing, forget it. But it's still important that you say it. It's important that you say it. Show appreciation and show gratitude as well. In line with showing appreciation and gratitude, it's important that we don't take our friends for granted. Strive not to get into that place where you begin to take your friend or siblings or family members for granted. They still deserve to hear thank you. Yeah, they still deserve to be celebrated. Yeah, so it's important that we work on we caution ourselves, or we hold ourselves accountable, so that we do not take our friends and relationships for granted. I once heard someone say that even heaven has gates. It is only hell that is wide open, free for all. So it's important that in your life you have boundaries. Set clear boundaries and communicate these boundaries to the people in your life. Let the people you're in relationship with know and understand your boundaries. It's important. That's why I first mentioned Oh, did I? I'm going to throw that in here. Self-awareness is so important. I think that's part of what I was going to say when I was talking about your self-esteem. I would add this. Self-awareness is very important when you want to get into a relationship. You need to know who you are, your likes, your dislikes, your abilities, and the things that you are not good at. That way, you do not offer false hope to people. People do not expect from you what you do not have to give. Yes, so it's important that you know yourself. Self-awareness is the number one thing you need before you even contemplate building relationships with people. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know the things that you're good at. Your strengths, of course, yeah. Know the things that you are not good at. Know your abilities, know your limits, know the things that you tolerate, the things that you will not tolerate. Now, of course, if you're a Christian, this should be within the confines of scripture. The scripture should be your guide, but I'm talking now about your natural giftings, your natural talents and abilities. You need to define those things. When you're fully aware of who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, then you'll be mature enough to handle relationships. Talking about boundaries, it's essential that you know your limit and communicate those limits clearly to people. And you too, be someone who respects people's boundaries, respect people's spaces. For instance, there might be someone you know who likes things done a certain way. If it's not nice that you go into the person's space and begin to turn things upside down just because that's who you are. If you're entering someone's space, I believe that you should give the person some form of courtesy and respect. Understand what they like, understand what they don't like, and live within those boundaries as well as your bound. That way, if you respect other people's boundaries, you should expect them to reciprocate. Yeah, they should respect your boundaries as well. I would say it this way: it's okay saying no and be okay with it if someone says no to you. So it's a two-way street. Yeah, so sometimes people feel uncomfortable. Oh, I don't want them to say no to me. Yeah, it's okay. It's just a word. It's no. It means the person is not able to meet up with maybe a demand, or the person is not available to do what you expect them to do. And if they say no, that should be okay. And when it comes to you, if you're unable to do something, it should be okay for you to say no. That's a healthy relationship. And you saying no does not mean that you're a bad person. It just means that you are not able to show up as the person would expect at that particular time. So it's okay to say no, and it is okay to hear no from your friends as well. If you want to build healthy relationships, you must learn not to sweep things under the carpet. There are people that like to bury their head in the sand like an ostrich, like everything is okay when it's not. If there's a conflict, resolve it. I know there are some people that do not like confrontation, but there are still ways to address issues. But when issues are left unresolved, it piles up, and in the end it will be disastrous. But if the issues are resolved as they come up, it's gone, it's resolved, it's gone, it's dealt with. Not that something happens, you don't address it, you keep building on it, you add more things will happen, you keep building on it. By the time that issue comes out, it will be like an atomic bomb. And that's not what we're going for. So to build healthy relationships, we must ensure that conflicts are resolved promptly. Now, when these conflicts are resolved, be open to forgive, be open to forgive, be open to receive feedback. It might not be a feedback that you like, but be open to it, receive it, and be that person too that would say exactly what has gone wrong. Like, express yourself clearly, express the things that the person, your friend or whoever we're talking about now, be willing to express clearly what they did that hurt you. That way you're sure the person got the memo. You're sure the person is clear. The person knows exactly what not to do next time, So I believe conflicts are not generally a bad thing. It just helps a relationship cement better. During conflict resolution, if you find that you have done something wrong, that's not the time to be defensive. It's okay, you apologize, and hopefully the person forgives you. They forgive you, or if you're the one doing the forgiving, you forgive the person and move on from it. But it's essential that you apologize if you have done something wrong and ask the person for forgiveness. When it's time to resolve a conflict, admit when you're wrong and apologize if you're wrong. It's not time to get defensive and make the person feel bad for being hurt by what you did. Nah, that's very wrong. That's wrong. If you have hurt somebody, the person has a right to express how they feel. And if you're the one that has been hurt as well, you have a right to express how you feel. So don't swallow it or just keep quiet because someone is acting all defensive. And if someone that's in a relationship with you is acting all defensive, call it out. Yep, call it out. Let the person know they're acting defensive and not taking accountability for their actions. It's important as adults that every one of us take accountability for our actions, and where we need to apologize, we go right on ahead to apologize. So there you have it, the ways you can nurture your relationships. Which of these points resonated with you more? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Hope you have subscribed. If you haven't, like the video and please share. Thank you. See you in my next one. Bye.